Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking all things shame, what it is, how we're doing it without even realizing that we're doing it, how it affects our kiddos, how it affects us, and how to correct it. Welcome to the Autism Diagnosis to Confident Mom podcast with Kira from Kira Brown Coaching. I'm a mom of neurospicy kids and a life coach. I'm here to share real tips and support to help you feel confident as a parent. Hey mama, do you ever think, my kid's a liar, my kid's a slob, my kid is crazy? Do you ever think those things? Today we're going to talk about how those affect our brain and their brain. When we think those things, we are actually shaming our child. You may not realize that. I didn't realize that. In fact, I have said for a long time now that my child is a mess. She's a mess. She is like the little character on Charlie Brown who just has like dirt swirling around her. Like that is her. And it's come to my attention that that is shaming. And I didn't even realize it. And so that is something that I am trying to correct right now in the way that I talk and the way that I think about her. I've recently been listening to Brene Brown, and she talks about how shame and guilt are different. And so I want to just share that with you, what I've learned. So guilt is I did wrong or you did something wrong. It's helpful because it helps us realize when we need to maybe apologize or correct our behavior. Whereas shame is, I am bad. I am wrong. I am a mess or a slob, right? Or you are a mess or a slob. And that attacks us as a person, who we are. And we don't want to shame our children. Shame loves to be secretive and grow. It loves the dark. It doesn't like to be exposed. If we don't talk about shame, it will just like grow and grow and grow and fester in our bodies, and we will become less confident in ourselves and our abilities and who we are. We will think we are wrong and we need to be something different, and that's not how we want ourselves or our children to feel. So it's important how we phrase things. If I wanted to say that my child is messy, instead of saying she is a mess, she is messy, she's a slob, whatever I've been saying in the past, right? I could say, you have created a mess. That separates the quote unquote problem from her as a person. It's something that she has done, a choice that she has made, rather than who she is. So for me, I've just been correcting in my brain every time I think, oh, she's such a mess. No, Kira, she has created a mess. And that's important. It really is important. Let's think about how we act out of shame. When we feel shame because we think, I'm a bad mom, I'm not doing this right, how do we show up as a mom? I know for me, when I think I'm a bad mom, I tend to lose my cool quicker. I tend to spiral on how I'm a bad mom. I kind of draw inward, and I'm not looking for solutions. I'm just focused on how horrible of a person I am. And that's that shame festering and growing in our bodies. So if we can change the way we think, instead of thinking, I am a bad mom, think, I made a bad choice, then that changes how we think about ourselves. If I think, oh, I made a bad choice, that empowers me to make a different choice next time. That empowers me to be a better person. That empowers me to have a choice, right? Of what I want to do in the future. And so it's the same with our kiddos, especially our neurodivergent kiddos. If we tell them, you are a liar, then they feel shame about that, and it grows, and they believe that they are a liar, and that's just who they are, and that's how it is. But if we say, you told a lie, let's correct this, then that can empower them to correct it and to learn and to make a better choice next time. It opens that up for them. It doesn't shame them. When we shame ourselves or our children, we are saying, you are only lovable if you behave a certain way. And I don't know about you, but that's not the message I want to give to my children. And I didn't realize that was the message I was giving them for a long time. And so, and I'm sure there's still ways that I inadvertently do that I haven't figured out yet, that I'm still trying to learn and to grow. But I don't want it to be by shaming them. So we want them to know that they're lovable no matter what, right? We're going to love them no matter what they do. We would prefer they make good choices, but we still love them. And those choices don't define whether we love them or not. Another way we can get rid of shame in our lives, in our families, is have a zero name calling tolerance. That is from, God, I'm so stupid, I can't get this math problem. No, we don't call ourselves stupid. That is, God, I'm such an idiot, I should have seen this meltdown coming. We don't name call to ourselves. We don't allow our children to name call, and we definitely don't allow name calling between family members in our homes. When we name call, we are shaming. And shaming is hurtful and harmful. It hurts our self-confidence. It hurts who we believe we are as a person. And as a neurodivergent person, our kiddos already have to work harder in social settings. They already have to work harder to handle the light and the noise and the texture of their clothing or the texture of their food or whatever. They already are working harder to fit into a neurotypical world. We don't need to add even more work. I want you to think about when you feel shame and you're sunken in on yourself and you're not doing the things like you want to be doing and you're just beating yourself up. How much more energy does that take than when you feel like, I've got this, I'm on top of my game, I can do this, I can figure this out. Shame feels heavy and hard, and we don't need to add that extra heavy and hard to our children. We can make their lives so much easier by not shaming them just by how we phrase the things we say. I'm not saying the things that we say are not true. For example, your child may have lied to you about something that they have done. I'm not saying that that is not true, but saying you told me a lie is different than saying you are a liar. And just knowing what we're saying, thinking about it, is very helpful and can change a lot. We also tend to shame ourselves, it's easier for us to shame our children. So we might need to stop and look at how we talk to ourselves before we ever begin how we talk to our children. You can start either way. You can start with the way you talk to your children. You can start with the way you talk to yourself, whichever one is easier. So how are you going to work on not shaming your child? How are you now aware that you are shaming your children? Let me know. I'd love to hear all about it. If you also have a topic you would like covered on the podcast, don't be afraid to email me. You can go to kirabrowncoaching.com, and then my email's on there. You can send me an email, or you can jump onto Instagram at Kira Brown Coaching. Shoot me a DM. I'd love to hear what you would want to hear about in the future. And I know you're doing better than you think you are, Mama. Don't let this send you into a spiral of shame. You are doing awesome. You are an awesome mom because you care enough to be here to learn more. I know that. And I'll talk to you next week. Thanks so much for listening to Autism Diagnosis to Confident Mom. If this episode helped you feel a little more seen or supported, please take a moment to like, follow, or subscribe to the podcast. And if you know another parent who needs to hear this, share it with them too. We're all in this together. You're doing better than you think, Mama. You've got this.